Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, I will explain another type of amplitude modulation which is called as vestigial sideband modulation. Okay. Now what is this vestigial sideband modulation is? And what is the advantage of this method over the previous methods? Like in my last few videos, I have explained a single sideband transmission, double sideband suppressed carrier, double sideband full carrier, that is conventional AM. Now the problem with conventional AM is you need lot of power, lot of bandwidth. That is 2 WHz of bandwidth is required, where W is the message bandwidth. And also we need a lot of power to transmit two sidebands as well as carrier. Now, in the double sideband suppressed carrier, we can eliminate the carrier and hence you can save the bandwidth, the power required to transmit the carrier, but we are not going to save anything in terms of the bandwidth. So we will move to the next method, that is single sideband transmission, where we transmit only one sideband and we save the power, lot of power, 83.33% you can say for the modulation index equal to 1, and also we save the bandwidth because the bandwidth required there is WHz. So we have both the advantages in terms of both the power as well as the bandwidth in case of SSB. But the problem in SSB, as I explained in my video also, previous video, that designing of band pass filter will be very difficult, because to choose a particular sideband in case of SSB it is very difficult. So we go for a vestigial sideband modulation. Now what is this vestigial or vestige means? So in this case what we do is we transmit one whole sideband, maybe USB or LSB, and we transmit some portion of the other sideband. Let us say some 25% of the other sideband. So vestige means some portion of the other. Okay, so some portion or trace of the other sideband is actually transmitted. So just an introduction of this vestigial sideband. So in case of SSB, where if you are having this the energy gap, if there is a large energy gap, then there is no issue with SSB. But if it is a small energy gap between say 0 to the lowest frequency of the message spectrum, okay, in that case we actually face the problem of designing the band pass filter. Okay, now if you take an example of say television, video, TV signals, TV video signals and computer data, they will be having a very large amount of low frequencies which we cannot neglect. In such cases the energy gap is narrow, okay, and designing of band pass filter becomes difficult. Okay, the solution to this problem is, okay, we go for a DSB SSC, let us say double sideband suppressed carrier, but what is the bandwidth required there? It is twice the message bandwidth. So that is the bandwidth actually required. So we have to compromise between, or we have to have a compromising method between these two. Okay, we have to save the bandwidth. Also, we have to design a band pass filter which is practically implementable. So the solution is vestigial sideband transmission. Okay, so we compromise in terms of a bandwidth. So we need bit extra bandwidth compared to SSB, but designing of band pass filter will be easier in case of vestigial sideband transmission. That's why this VSB technique is used in television application for transmitting the video signals. Okay, now so vestigial sideband modulation is we can compare that with the SSB, and we can have two different differences we can have. The one is what exactly we do in the VSB. That's what I'm explaining now. That is, we transmit the trace or a vestige of the other sideband. Okay, that's why we call it as a vestigial sideband transmission. And almost full amount of the other sideband or whole of the other sideband is transmitted. So let us say we are transmitting a USB completely, and some portion of the LSB is also transmitted along with complete portion of the one sideband. So it is not SSB, it is not DSB, but it is in between DSB and SSB. Now, so we can say the bandwidth required actually for a vestigial sideband transmission is, it is W plus FV hertz. That means where FV is the additional frequency spectrum what we are transmitting apart from the one sideband. So as you know, the bandwidth required to transmit the sideband, that is the lower sideband, maybe upper sideband, is WHz. Okay, now the bandwidth, additional bandwidth what I am using over here is FV hertz. Fine. Now, so this is the actually the characteristic of the band pass filter, okay, which I'll show you next in the next slide, the generation of VSP signal. Now this is the characteristic of the band pass filter, or if I use a band pass filter with this particular characteristic, it will actually allow only this much of the frequency spectrum or portion of the frequency spectrum to pass. So in this case I am allowing the entire, let us say, upper sideband. So this is FC, this is FC plus FV, this is FC plus W hertz. That means between FC to FC plus W means it is the upper sideband. So this is the upper sideband, and some portion of the lower sideband is also transmitted. That is, the amount is equal to FV hertz. Okay, it is FV amount of FV below FC. So it is FC minus FV, we can say. So that much a portion of the lower sideband is also transmitted. So upper sideband, and this actually constitutes a vestige or trace of the lower sideband. We are not transmitting the whole portion of the lower sideband. So bandwidth required here is, the difference here is W hertz. This difference is W hertz. This difference is FV hertz. So overall bandwidth required here is FV plus W hertz. So that means here the vestige frequency or a vestige bandwidth of FV hertz, okay, which constitutes around 25% of the lower sideband, along with the full portion of the upper sideband is transmitted. Fine. Now let us understand how to generate the VSP signal. Okay, this is the block diagram of the modulator, the vestigial sideband modulator. So in this case, what I am showing here is a message signal M of t. It is given to the product modulator. The other input for product modulator is carrier wave with a frequency of FC and amplitude of AC. The output of the product modulator is given to the vestigial sideband shaping filter, which has the response equal to H of F, which I showed earlier in my previous slide. See, this is the response of the H of F, or the VSB shaping filter. Now, the output of that VSB shaping filter is a VSB modulated signal called S of T. Now, as you know, when I multiply a message signal with a carrier by using a product modulator or a analog multiplier, always the output is DSB SC, right? The double sideband suppressed carrier. That means the carrier is already suppressed, and out of two sidebands, I need to choose one sideband and some portion of the other sideband. So if this particular band pass filter, this is basically a band pass filter, if it is having a shape which is equal to H of F, or frequency response equal to the H of F, which I showed earlier in my previous slide, it will allow only that component through the to pass through it. That means the output will be a VSP signal. So what I can say is the VSP modulated signal in the frequency domain, it is given by this particular equation. That is, S of F is equal to, this is equivalent to a DSB SC signal. So that component I will get in the output of the product modulator. Just give me a second. Yeah. So this component I will get in the output of the DSB SC. This particular portion I will get in the output of DSB SC here. Okay, and when it is passed through a filter which is having a response equal to H of F, the output will be a S of F. That is VSB modulated signal. Okay, because it allows only that much of portion to pass through it. Now, as I described earlier, if this is the response, frequency response, of the filter, like H of F, and this is the original spectrum M of F, which is having a bandwidth of W hertz. Okay. Then after modulation, the frequency will be shifted by FC and carrier will be suppressed, isn't it? Now I'm going to choose only the upper sideband, which is my filter is having a response, practical response, something like this. If I say, in that case, the whole portion of the upper sideband is chosen or selected, which is having a bandwidth of W hertz, and around 25% of the lower sideband, which is a vestige of the lower sideband, is also allowed to pass through it. So I can have I don't have to go with the ideal case of SSB. I don't have to choose both the sidebands in this case. I can have a practical bandpass filter which has a response which is equal to something like this. Okay, so intentionally I am allowing some portion of the lower sideband which can be removed in the receiver later. So the overall bandwidth here given is FV plus W hertz. So this is just a mirror image of the other case. Okay, so this is called vestigial sideband transmission. Now going to the next part, how to demodulate the signal, vestigial sideband signal. Okay, so I have a modulated signal S of t, which is given over here. Just one second. So I have a modulated signal. I'm using a coherent detection of the vestigial sideband modulation. Okay, that is demodulation is done by using a coherent demodulation. So I have a local carrier generated by the local oscillator, which is having the same frequency and the phase all the time compared to the frequency and the phase of the transmitted transmitter carrier. Okay, we have to maintain a synchronization or an incoherence relationship between the frequency and the phase of two signals. Okay, and the product modulator I'm using where the S of t is multiplied with this carrier, I'll get a V of t, let us say. Okay, which is consisting of both the low frequency component and high frequency component. The low frequency component is a basic signal, and the high frequency component I'll show you next in this in the next slide. So I pass through a low pass filter. So low pass filter will allow only the message spectrum. So I get a demodulated signal V of t. So where V naught of t is actually equal to the message signal. Okay. Now let us understand this concept with a derivation. Okay. Now see this. So I have say V of t, which is nothing but it is S of t, a VSB signal multiplied by AC dash cos 2 pi FCT. So where AC dash cos 2 pi FCT is your local carrier. Okay. If I take a Fourier transform to this particular signal, what I'll get is half of AC dash S of f minus Fc plus S of f plus Fc. That means S of t will be shifted by Fc, right? Because I'm multiplying a S of t with a cos 2 pi FCT. So I should have a S of f minus Fc plus S of f plus Fc. The spectrum of S of t is shifted by Fc. Okay. Now, yeah, so that's what V of f is equal to this. Then S of f equal to half of AC m of f minus Fc plus m of f plus Fc into h of f. Okay, that's what I have done over here is I substituted S of t over there. That's it in the frequency domain. So what I'll get S of f equal to, this is the S of f what I have actually for a VSB modulated signal. Okay, which I will substitute. I'll find out what is S of f minus Fc and S of f plus Fc. Okay, then I'll come back to this particular equation. Fine. So this is your V of f. What is V of f? This is the V of f I'll get in the output of product modulator. Okay. So I know what is S of f is. So S of f is given by this. I have given this earlier, this equation earlier. Okay. That is half of AC m of f minus Fc plus m of f plus Fc into h of f. So I'll substitute this back into these equations. Before that, I have to find out S of f minus Fc and S of f plus Fc. Then I'll come back to the equation of V of f. What is S of f minus Fc? I have to shift this particular S of f by shift right by Fc, right? Isn't it? So what is S of f plus Fc? Shift left by Fc. That's it. Either plus Fc or minus Fc. So let us do that first here. Okay. So S of f minus Fc is nothing but it is half of AC m of f minus Fc and minus Fc, right? M of f plus Fc minus Fc. So what I'll get a m of f minus of 2 times Fc over here. Okay. In this case, that plus Fc and minus Fc cancels, so I'll get only m of f. Again, h of f is also shifted by Fc. This is what I'll get. What about S of f plus Fc? Just add Fc to both these terms. That's it. So I'll get a half of AC as it is, m of f, because we have a minus Fc and plus Fc cancels. Here, plus Fc and plus Fc, we get a 2 times Fc, h of f plus Fc. Then what I'll do, I'll substitute this here. I'll substitute this particular equation here. Okay, just do that substitution. What I will get, I'll show you directly. I'll get V of f equal to 1 by 4 AC dash m of f into h of f minus Fc plus h of f plus Fc plus half of AC dash m of f minus 2 Fc multiplied by h of f minus Fc plus m of f plus 2 Fc into h of plus f of f plus Fc. Now, out of these two components, just look at this. The first term, this term is nothing but it is the scaled version of m of f. H of f minus Fc, h of f plus Fc means it is nothing but it is the frequency response of the filter is shifted by plus Fc and minus Fc, which actually going to change the amplitude part of this m of f. That's it. Okay. So this is a scaled version of m of f. So first part is the low frequency component. What about second component? It is m of f minus 2 Fc, right? So it's a m of f shifted by 2 Fc. It's a high frequency component. So when I pass this V of f through a low pass filter, it allows only the first portion, that is this particular portion. Only this portion is allowed. So this portion is actually removed by the low pass filter. So I get only this portion. See this. Only the first part. The first part is allowed by the low pass filter. That's it. Right? So, but still there are some distortion. the distortion given by this particular filter. So we should be very careful while designing the band pass filter. Okay, so that will going to add a distortion to the demodulated signal. If this particular part is equal to 1, let us say, then the distortion is minimum. I get only this portion, that's it. That is half of AC into AC dash M of f. So we need to satisfy a few conditions in the band pass filter in the transmitter to eliminate the distortion in the demodulated signal. I'll explain this here. Okay, so this is what I said earlier, h of f minus fc plus h of f plus fc, that is your this portion, this particular portion. Okay, so this particular portion should be either equal to 2 times h of fc, or that term should be equal to 1. So we have to satisfy this condition. What is h of fc is, it is nothing but it is the value of h of f at f equal to fc. Okay, and if I set this value as say half, as I mentioned over here, if it is equal to half, 2 into half is equal to 1, right? So we have to set h of fc equal to half to get equal to that entire term equal to 1. In that case, the distortion is less. Okay, just look at this response again. I have taken the same response of h of f once again over here. Okay, just look at this. Okay, now at the fc, what is h of f? H of f at fc is set as 0.5. The highest is taken as 1. That means it is normalized graph or normalized magnitude, you can say. The highest value is equal to 1 here. At the fc, it is set as 0.5. So if I substitute h of fc as 0.5, I'll get this entire term equal to 1. In that case, the distortion is less. Okay, so to get a less distortion in the demodulated signal and to get back with the original signal properly, we have to satisfy this condition. That is, it must provide a odd symmetry about the carrier frequency. That is, let us say this is A point, this is point B. This A plus B should be always equal to 1. And this should be a odd symmetry or symmetrical, or this gap between the central frequency, the magnitude of the central frequency and A and B should be same. Okay, that is, it must be linear over the, and one more condition is it must be linear over the frequency range of fc minus fv to fc plus fe. So that is, this variation should be linearly changing. The frequency response of the filter should be linearly changing between these frequencies, and you should maintain an odd symmetry between the points A and B. That is, A plus B should be equal to 1. In that case, the distortion will be less. So in this video, I have explained the what is VSB, how it is different from SSB and DSB, how to modulate and get VSB modulated signal, and how to demodulate by using a DSB SSC signal, and as well as what is the precaution we have to take while designing the band pass filter. Okay, thank you for watching this video.